Today it's all about layers, luscious layers, layers upon layers upon layers. And I made up a checklist for myself because I'm not usually great at creating layers and I want to get better. You're welcome to have this checklist also. The link is below in the description. Now I'm going to be using all kinds of things from digitals to vellum to paper bags and sari silk and chiffon silk and I'm going to do some lace also. But today we're just going to work on some papers, different kinds of papers. Now this is a digital that I cut out and it's made to be an envelope, but I'm going to use it in the journal. The first layer to go down is some distress ink. It's pumice stone and bundled sage. I'm adding the pumice stone because it has a gray, darker hue. The green was too bright of a green. And so adding the pumice. And I do that later on. I actually have both colors on, layered on the sponge. So, do you do a lot of layers? Do you do lace and different kinds of paper and ribbon and different things? It's not been something I've been good at, so I've really admired Anne at Odulcina. I'll link below to her channel. I've admired her for many years, and I've decided I'm going to do a deep dive. This is 90 grade of a, what's it called? It's, are you shouting at me now? You strain things through it. Cheesecloth. There we go. Found the word. But it's a beautiful cheesecloth. It's very fine, and even though it will fray like it does, it's really pretty because it's an unbleached cotton. So it's that slightly beigey color. Anne uses a lot of cheesecloth in her making of things. So that's going to be one layer. I also have mulberry paper that I'm going to put down as another layer. And then fussy cuts. So all this is going to come together eventually into a journal. Aren't those roses pretty? I've bought a couple of Anne at Odulcina, her digitals, and so I'm using two different groupings. One is a tea time. I'll link below to them. And the other one is a dressmaker's digital. Now, Anne, she does things that are not completely straight, and she creates dimension with gluing things on so it has some buckles and some, it's very different from what I've done before. And so I'm determined to learn her style, and because I think it's beautiful. Again, the pumice stone and the bundled sage on the corners to give it some depth, some variety. And with the mulberry paper, I'm going to use my texture boutique thingy, and it's a texture folder. Give it some texture. But first, fussy cutting one of the teacups to go on the front, over top of the cheesecloth. Now, I won't be adding lace today. That's going to be next week. So stay tuned for that. More layers. When I started making the checklist, it was very interesting, all the different items. I just started putting them down in a graph. And there's a lot of things we can add as layers. So I'm going to keep filling that up and trying it. Now that's mulberry paper, and I'm tearing it with the tearing ruler because I want to have an edge that is not real straight, rather it's jagged. And it tears beautifully. And it's a beige mulberry paper. Obviously I could use some distress ink on it, but in this particular case I choose not to. Maybe I will in future videos. So this is going to be a little bit of a deep dive, a number of videos, making things with lots of layers on them, everything I can think of. Leave a comment below if you have favorite things to layer on top of each other. I'd love to know. I have things like ruffles and buttons, and now this is chiffon ribbon. I've got a bunch of those, and they're waiting to be used. Tracing paper, that's another thing I like. So, do you make a lot of layers in your junk journaling? I haven't really, so this is going to be a bit of a stretch for me. Are you well? I hope you're well. We're quite busy here, but in enjoyable ways. I like using that silicone spatula to spread glue. My fingers still get really sticky though. I keep baby wipes handy so that I can wipe off my hands. And I decide that I don't like the lace image on that I'd rather have just the teacup. So, gluing it down. That's just the backing from a sticker sheet. And I use that often if I just need to quick use the glue stick all over something. Now, that's the mulberry paper. It's going to go in the middle. And I'm going to use the texture folder and use the edge of it first to tear it to the size that I want it to be torn, and then I'll put it through the little texture boutique. Trying to fold it equally and place it in there so that I can tear each of the sides, the 3 sides. It's going to be one layer inside of the faux pocket, faux envelope. So first came the stenciling, and next will come the mulberry paper. And I was surprised at how well the mulberry paper takes embossing. Pleasantly surprised. And it looks so pretty because you can see the stenciling under it, but not completely. And then the embossing part shines beautifully. And it doesn't matter whether one side is the embossed, one side is the debossed. Both look pretty. The design of the folder is very small, so it fits the size of the project that I'm working on. The scale there, that's what I really mean. And you can see how it comes out. Beautiful, huh? Now just to tack it in there, I don't need to use too much glue. I just want it to be layered into the middle. Eventually I'll put other papers in as a signature. But first this part is going to be the first part of what will be a massively layered little journal. I have some damask craft paper, little bags, and I'm really excited to use them also. So I'm wondering about those pocket parts that are folded in. I don't know whether I really like them. So you can see all the fussy cuts of the dressmakers, but I decided to go with more of the T digitals. They, I believe, should be something like a bookmark. Yep, I've decided I'm going to cut off those little flaps because it's not going to be an envelope. Don't really need them. But I need to ink the area that is now a fresh cut. It'll work better without those little flaps for the purpose that I want. Now, if it were to be an envelope, then the flaps would be wonderful. Let's cut this up here. Oh, nope, let's use a ruler, the tear ruler. The edge will look much nicer, especially if I ink it. Having a torn edge, it makes the layer more interesting, both visually and texturally. Now this paper is, it's a heavier and very smooth paper. It's about 80 pounds, and it's very shiny almost. No, not shiny, but it is really smooth. And it tears easily, and it has enough weight as a paper. It's not cardstock at all. I'll link below to what it is. It's a Hammermill, I think. It's one of my favorite papers, and it takes tea dyeing really well. Changes the whole texture of the paper when you tea dye it. And it doesn't have the tendency to rip as a less hefty paper does, copy paper. But it still prints beautifully, as you can see. So there's another layer to that, or page. Depends how you look at it. And the part that is white, I want to add a little color. And then I'm going to add some chiffon ribbon. That's a pretty narrow ribbon that I have available to me at this point. But it's perfect for this project. And the different colors will be interesting also. There's a dark green. I don't know if I'll use that. But the different pinks, they'll work well with these digitals. Yep, inking. You don't see me inking very much usually. I haven't done a lot of inking recently. So back to inking. These were some of the distressings I had in my stuff for the last, it's got to be more than 5 years. And they haven't dried out. Now I keep them very well closed, and I bought a refresher, it's called, some kind of liquid. I know a lot of people just, they put water spray, and that works too. But I decided to invest in a refresher because these are so old. And there goes the chiffon ribbon on the spine. The middle of those should be bookmarks. And next week I'm going to add some lace. At the end of this video, you're going to see some of the lace that I have pulled out. I haven't used lace in a long time. So, layers and dimension and ink and all kinds of things in this next few videos. see where it goes, adding buttons and adding wax seals and adding jewelry. My mum loved jewelry. She was a jewelry person. Sadly, she's in long-term care now with severe dementia, but she has some pieces with her still, but the majority of it came home with me. My daughter, she took quite a bit of the jewelry for herself because she is a jewelry person. Kind of skipped a generation. I don't even wear my rings regularly. My wedding rings, just they fall off my fingers. I've lost a little bit of weight, and of course in my hands, of all places. So my rings fall off my fingers and I don't want to lose them, so I don't wear them regularly. Yeah. But our daughter, Sarah, she wears jewelry. She loves jewelry. So she took a lot of my mom's jewelry. But I still have some of her costume jewelry that nobody really wants. But it's perfect for junk journaling. So I'm going to put it in this journal also as a layer. But that's more toward the end. There's that craft paper envelope that's got the damask coloring. I think that'll be nice. Can't quite decide how I'm going to put it together. Is that going to be on the outside or the inside? And then there's a vellum piece yet that can go in there. So a few buttons and laces and jewelry and dangles and lots of things. I've made a list and I'm going to be checking it off. And you can join me if you want to download that digital. It's free. I'll just leave the link below in the description, where just below the title of the YouTube video, it says more. If you click on that, you'll see all the links that will take you places or the description of this video. Still experimenting. I'm not real good at this yet, so. And then there's the vellum part, and I'm going to use that also. We'll have to figure out how it works. And all these beautiful digitals that Anne at Odulcina, she created. Now, isn't that a beautiful digital? Wow. I think those are peonies. I'll have to use those in things also. And then there's images. How about those dresses? I think I'm going to use the ones that are like the more vintage dresses, not the one in the bottom left. Anyhow, next week, more layers, more things. Here's some of the laces that I've pulled out that I'm going to be putting on things to create more layers. Until then, take care. It's Lori at Positive Thanks Living. Bye for now. Happy crafting, everybody. I'm enjoying this. I hope you are. Bye-bye.